everyone, I have been sent this lovely set of little illustrations by Agotapop, and she has sent them for me for free to show you, and they are called Hiking Adventure Tiny Illustrations. You can buy them from her Etsy shop and the link is in my description, but I thought I would show you them all and then I'm going to colour one of them. I'm going to start here with showing you from the top across. I don't know if it's in the right order. So we have this lovely log cabin with this sort of grass or mossy roof, which is rather sweet. And then we have a floral design. We have a flask with compass and map, and a cup and some wild strawberries. And down here we have a couple of more sort of framed scenes, so we can see the a path, and on this one a cute little cabin. And then we can turn over, oh no, next set. So this is the bottom corner of the next page, so we have a little signpost, and here we have a couple of, oh, it's one bag, isn't it? It's a little ladder, as if the flask is a house. We have some little stickers, so it's our sort of hiking bag. And we have another pretty floral little bird on a sort of pile of rocks. We have a tent and a couple of trees. And then the last sheet we have a group of trees and a waterfall. This one rather captured my imagination, mushrooms in a basket. I love baskets and I like mushrooms, so there we go. And this is like a pile of logs with a book on the top, but it's a house. It's a very interesting idea. We have a cooking pot over a fire, a hammock, and a more sort of autumnal scene with pine cones and an acorn, which is rather sweet. So that is this set. So you get 6 per page. Oh, hang on, I've missed a page. You get 4 pages of tinies. So we have a t-shirt, you have a pair of boots with some flowers. It's fun, isn't it? A tree stump with our mushroom basket on it. It's a little house look. Real cute one, snail on a mushroom. We have a front view of a chalet house or a log cabin, and we have, I'm thinking, river going through the hills. So I got that wrong. We have 4 pages, each with 6, so that's 6 fours, 24 when I was at school, 24 images altogether to print. They're available in either black, which I printed them in, or grey, which I've printed them in on this page. I've printed one page off to colour for you. I'm not going to print the whole page, I'm just going to colour one. I can't decide though whether to do, whoops, the pot, the cooking pot with the fire and the logs, or whether to do the mushroom basket. But I might do the pot because I think the fire could be quite a useful one for you guys to follow. Now it's a bit faint, the print, because I purposely printed it faint so that it's it fades back a little bit, which can be quite nice. So fire, I've got my Castle Art Soft Touch. So fire as is red on the top and then gets lighter towards the bottom, I think. So that's how I'm going to colour it. So I'm going to start with the vermilion. If I can find it, here it is. For the top of the flames, well, I'm just going to go for the flames right away. So just the very tops, and then fade it because I want my colours to blend. This is quite pink actually, but I think it'll be okay. The larger bits of fire, you can do a bit more. Oh, it's raining again. I thought it stopped, but obviously not for long. I think that's a bit too. Now I'm going to just have a quick look. yeah, I think that's all the fire. And then we are going to move straight to an orange. Although red ochre is a good transition colour actually. I use that. Oops. You could use this for your first colour if you don't have the vermilion. It depends what sets of castles you've got. I'm going to go over a bit and then take it down. It looks a bit better than, it doesn't look so pink if I just go over it a bit. So it's making a clunky noise because I didn't bring anything to lean on, even after recording the last video where I didn't have anything to lean on, and I put everything away and got out new things and still forgot. I think we'll go to Orange Lake if I can find it. Should we be this one? Yeah, the Orange Lake next, because yeah, I want room for a little bit of a yellowy orange at the end. I'm going over everything and I find it helps it to blend nicely. As long as you don't press too hard, you can see the other colours underneath. So it works quite nicely. Right. I think I'm just should go to the marigold. I'm going to try it. It might be a bit of a big jump, but I think I might make this my last colour. I think it should work. Yeah. Now this paper is ivory coloured, not white. I just wanted to play with some and see what it was like. It's actually rubbish. It's Ryman's printer paper, cardstock. It's awful. It's better with this pencil than it was in the last video that I used it with. When I used it with Prismacolor, it was terrible. Oops, I just dropped my pencil. So where are we now? We are, I've completely been forgetting what colours I use, forgetting to keep the colours aside for my description. So we use vermilion, red ochre, orange lake and marigold, I think. Right, let us move on and do the wood. Now the amount of browns in this set is lacking, to be honest, but I want to start with a light brown, and I'm going to use the raw umber. It's too light for the bark, but I think it'll be right for the ends of the logs because they're usually lighter. I'm going to try and actually colour them in a sort of rounded style like this, how they're drawn, because they would have this sort of you can see the rings on them. If you've ever seen a tree trunk, you can see the rings. Apparently people use it to age a tree, which I find quite fun. There's a place that we sometimes go to in Arboretum. They've got a big cut off piece of tree which is enormous, and it can shows things like you can see where it didn't grow much when there was like a drought or things like that. It's quite fascinating actually. There we go. So we want a darker colour for the actual bark. I don't want to go as dark as I can because I want to add some dark to it. So I'm going to use the walnut brown, if I can find it. There it is. Yeah, it isn't the darkest brown. I'm just going to give it a sharpen and do all the logs with it and these sticks. I'll start with this stick because it's quite small and I've got a nice sharp pencil. Oh, I don't know if you can hear the rain. I don't think it's quite that. I've heard it louder. when we had the really heavy downpour, it was so loud. Never seen anything like it. Okay, just going to do all of them. Now don't worry about the fact that it isn't really that dark. I've got a line again like I did last time I used this paper. I don't know if it's the desk. Yeah, it is. There's a notch in the desk. Never mind, there's nothing, I've got nothing to lean on. I'll just move it up and cover it over. Look. There we go. Yeah, there's a scratch in the desk. This is quite an old desk. So I'm doing quite plain colouring at the minute. I'm going to put in some shape into these logs and shadows and things with a darker brown after. But I think it's nice to have a bit of a base colour on here before I do that. Helps me anyway. It's a thing like an open fire. I know we shouldn't really be, they're not good for us, the particulates and things. It's not really healthy, but we've got a log burner and it's so nice, but we do use smokeless fuel, which I think is safe, and because it's a log burner there's a cover over it so it doesn't get smoke into our room very much unless the wind blows down the chimney really hard. So now we're going to use the Van Dyke brown to put in some shadow and things so we can actually see the different logs. At the moment they look like they're very much on top of each other. So I'm going to put some shadow on the bottom of this one for a start, and this one. Hopefully then if I put some along the edge of this log it can help us to start seeing that there's two logs there. Now with this one I'm going to make it dark here at the bottom where it would be, like that, and here look on this one at the back, make it darker. Now a bit in here. If we make this darker, then this one which is facing the other way will hopefully start to stand out, especially if we put some shadow under that one. There we go. I'm going to put some shadow here. Now this big one that's lying on top would be a little bit darker at the bottom, but I'm going to try and just put that in a bit lighter so that we can, there's still shadow underneath it. But I want to put some darker lines on it to give it some texture. There we go. Yeah, just tidy that up a bit. Okay, so there are our logs. I'm quite happy with those. We do have some little stones. I'm going to do those next so I don't forget. I'm thinking maybe we'll do them grey just so they look a little bit different. I'm going to use this grey. This is the Davys grey. It's slightly a browny grey, so they might look a little bit muddy. Now you could do some ground around them. I'm not going to. I'm just going to colour in what's drawn. I'll try to. Oh, my stomach's rumbling. It's nearly lunchtime. Shall I eat what's in the pot? Nice stew. Right, the leaf. It's only the only leaf in the whole picture. Let's make it cadmium green. I shouldn't really keep using the cadmium green all the time. It's my favourite. Let's use the leaf green instead. That's really bright, but I think that might be a good idea. Actually, I'm sharpening up the leaf green. You can use any green for this. I'm going to colour the whole leaf with this. Then I'm going to get a slightly darker green. Yeah, you try and use the sap green if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Give that a sharpen. Need it really sharp because I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow in. Yeah, so the sap green. And pop it under here. In there. A bit on the edge. A bit up there. There we go. Bit of shadow. Now let's do our spoon. I'm thinking cool grey is rather good for, oh that's not the cool grey there. Cool grey is rather good for silver or pewter, that sort of thing. That's what I want from my spoon. And what I'm going to do is go around the edge dark. Just trace a line around it. And then bring it in, but fade it. And the idea is that I'm going to leave a white line down the middle to look like shine, so that it looks like it's just metallic. There we go. Now our cooking pot I want to do in black. Don't have to do it in black, I just feel like it would be ivory black, but we don't have to do it all really dark. So the idea is I'm going to do a light layer of black over the whole pot, and then make some areas darker. You can with black, you don't have to, it doesn't have to all be the same depth of black. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm getting a base of black down, remembering to leave that bit because I think that's our stew, whatever it is. I'm wondering whether to colour it red and make it like tomato soup, but we'll see. So I'm just getting a layer of black down, and it's quite scruffy, and that's okay. It's quite hard to colour a big area really neatly, but we'll add lots more layers and hopefully it'll all come together in the end. So let's do the handle first, and I'm going to make it very much darker at the bottom and lighter towards the top. And the same here, so then it really, the spoon will stand out as looking different, which is good. And we don't want, and I can just tidy it up so it looks lighter at the top there, hopefully. Then we have the back part, so here I'm thinking it'd be quite dark in there, but maybe slightly lighter just towards the top of that lip. So here again, maybe a bit lighter in the middle. So really put it down there, and then less towards the middle here. And that also seems to give the impression that it's a bit further away, which I don't know why it does. I think it's the way it's drawn. Now, for our rim part, I'm going to have it darker on the edge than the middle. I'm going to have a shine down the middle of our pot. Even though it's black, we can put in a bit of a shine. Now, I don't want this to be massively dark because I want the bit under the rim to be really dark. So it is darker than the centre, but it isn't going to be really, really dark. I'm going to go over this and tidy it up. Look at that. It's better, isn't it? It's bit lighter here, but here I want it to be really dark. So you can see a difference between that rim, which is standing out a bit. Here it's just a matter of tidying it up and trying to get that fade towards the centre a bit. Here again, much darker here. And you can see how just building up the layers a bit means that you can tidy it up, which is important to me, just to get it looking a little bit neater. You could use a blending pencil, blending pen might help as well, but I find just reworking the pencil can do the job. But we need to make sure that this rim is drawn back in. We can see it. Just going to tidy it up a little bit more, and then we're almost finished. And if you're clever, you could put some colour on the pot as if the flames are reflecting off the black, but it's a bit beyond me, I'm afraid. So in our pot, what are we cooking? Well, let's straighten you up a bit. It could be stew, but then if I colour it brown, it looks a bit... I could do a sort of tomatoey red and make it look like a tomato soup. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm looking at the colours and I'm actually thinking the terracotta is the closest to tomato soup colour, I think, so that's what I'm going to do. Terracotta. I'm going to try and do it a bit darker towards the edges. I hope that looks like tomato soup. Maybe we're just cooking blood in a pot. Let's hope not, eh? So there we go. There's our little design. I chose quite a simple one actually, but I might do a few of the others with you. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't really done much planning, but we'll see. But there's our little pot. And yeah, so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. As I say, these are available. There's a link in my description to the Etsy shop with the discount code in, so you can grab them for a little bit of a discount. And yeah, and they're also all on there, so you can have a look and see exactly what you're getting for your money. But as I say, you're probably getting 6 times 4 small designs fit on an A4 page, and you can choose black or grayscale. You know, it's not grayscale, that's wrong, either black or grey print. So the grey print, I think it hides the black lines a bit more, which I know that some people prefer. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a super day and happy colouring.